everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are gonna see how we can do the API testing. If you are creating any ReactJS dynamic application, you must be using APIs. So APIs are a very important concept in your ReactJS application. What we are gonna do is, this is the URL, this is the JSON placeholder API. I will be doing an API request to this, and once I have this data available, I will be creating the list of my users. So generally when we get the requirement, the way we get the requirement to create something like this, it will always be like do get request to an API endpoint. Once the data is there, create the UI. So this is the requirement we get. And in today's video, I'm gonna show you that how TDD, test driven development, is going to help us in again identifying where are the gaps in the requirement. So what we are gonna do? We are gonna do a API request and we are gonna write the test cases for that, but we are gonna do it by using TDD. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do list.test.js and I'm gonna import render screen from our testing library. So this we already discussed, you already know, but now when we are doing API testing, there are few things we need to take care of. The first thing is API requests are async. It means that the response or error, success or error will come in the future. So till then, unless and until we don't have a response, we cannot do the assertion. So we have to wait. So please remember this concept, because this asynchronous will come in picture when we will start writing the test cases. So that's why it is important. The second thing is, when we are writing the test cases, we will be doing API request to the actual endpoint, but when it comes to the testing for the response, we will be mocking it. Now why and what is mocking? Mocking is basically we will be creating a look-alike response and not response. Basically, we are gonna fake it. We are gonna mock or sample something, some response or error. We are gonna mock that. So we are gonna take the response, we will do the hard coding of that, and then we are gonna do the testing. Now you may ask that why we need to do the mocking here. The reason of doing the mocking is because our API request, you don't know what the response will come. So example, if you are creating a dynamic trading application, if you will be doing API request, right now the one of the stock is XYZ is at 50, but when second time you are gonna do the request, at that time it could decrease or increase. So you cannot rely on the API response always, because it can change. So that's why we are not gonna do the testing on the actual response. We are gonna mock the response so that we know that the response will always remain this. Now this may confuse you, that then how we are making sure that our test cases are working. The reason is how we are doing. First we are doing a API request. So we are doing API request to actual URL. So the first thing is, this is what we are testing, that the API request is going there, it's a response, it's a success or it's an error, it will give it back to us. And once it is with us, that it is a success or error, then the mock data which we have created would be like the response we would be getting. It just right now it is hard coded. So the same example, we will be having the stock name XYZ and the value will be something which we will be hard coding, so that whenever we are testing, it doesn't matter if the value is changing, because what we are testing is that this value is coming and this value is coming. So we are gonna mock it. So please remember these are the things which we are gonna do in our test cases. Okay, now how we can do all these things? The first thing is, when we are doing an API request, for this example I will be using fetch, and now what we have to do is we have to mock the fetch request. Now what is mocking of fetch request means? We are gonna override the global fetch request in our test case, and we will say that whenever a request is going, please take this success function and this error function as a response. If it is not making sense, it's fine, I'm gonna write it so that you can understand. So the first thing what we are gonna do is we are gonna create a mocking success fetch request, that when our API request has been gone and a success has been came from that, what response it should give. So that's what we are working on. So mock fetch request, and we will return what this is gonna return. This is gonna return just.fn mock implementation. And what it is gonna return? It is gonna return us a promise dot resolve, because this is our success. Now what it is gonna happen? Okay is true, and here whatever the JSON we want to return, it will come here, and promise dot resolve. Okay, so this is our mock success fetch request. Now what we are gonna do is we are gonna create a mock data also. So we will have ID1, name, user1. Now this is the name, this is the ID, this is what I'm using. The only thing is I'm hard coding the user1. That's it. This is what I'm doing. Perfect. So our mock of success is ready, our mock data is ready. Now let's start writing our test case. So this is our list component, and what is the first case we want to write? We want to write should do successful fetch request and create UI. This is what we want to do. Okay, now here this particular test case is responsible for the fetch request, and I already told you that this is gonna be a API request is async. So what we have to do? We have to make this asynchronous. This particular test case will be asynchronous. Now the next thing what we are gonna do is we are gonna override our global fetch method, and what we are gonna say is that when you are doing global fetch, use this particular method, and in that this particular data should be available. Now what will happen is this has become reusable. So this mock data, it will take it, and whenever this mock fetch request is going, on the successful resolve, it will return us this data. So whenever our API request, a fetch request will happen, on the success of that, this particular mock fetch request will be called with our mock data. Okay, so now what's next we are gonna do? Now here what we are gonna do is we will render our test, we will render our list component. So once this is rendered, then what we are gonna do? We are gonna do a fetch request. Once the request is going, we will wait. Now when the fetch request is going, at that time what will be happening on the UI? At that time we will be showing a loader, so we will add a loader there. So loading text will be there, and once the data is back, once the success or response is there, then what we have to do is we have to check if the UI is created or not by asserting that this value should be in the UI. So now here the first thing what we are gonna do is in render our list component, which is not right now available, but it's fine, we will create it. Then what we are expecting? We are expecting that when the fetch request is happening, it should be to be called, to have been called with. Yeah, this is the one. And what's the URL we are hitting? This is the URL we are gonna hit. So it will come here. Perfect. Now when the fetch request is going because this is async. So what we have to do, we have to wait, and also we have a waitFor method from our testing library. This will make it to wait. So let's import it. And now here what we are gonna do is we are gonna say screen dot get by text loading and expect this loading to be in the document. Okay, so fetch request is going, meanwhile we are waiting, loading text is coming. And now what we are gonna do, so what we are gonna do is sorry, wait, not here, we are gonna do it here. So this is happening, fetch request is going, our loading text is there, should be there in the screen, and we should assert it. Then what we are gonna do is we are gonna wait. How long we are gonna wait? We are gonna wait till this loading text is removed. Now what it means is that the moment we will get a response from our API, it means that this loading text should be removed and our actual data should be there. So now what we are gonna do is we are gonna ask to wait till this loading text element to be null. It should not be there. Okay, this should happen. And instead of get by text, we are gonna do query by text, because we are doing async, we are waiting, so that's why we are using query by text. Okay, so this is done. Now once this is successful, then what we are gonna do is we are gonna search for the username. So get by text, and let's put copy paste directly this, and expect user1 to be in the document. Okay, perfect. So this is our test case, this is what we have to do. Now to run this, first we need to create the list component also. So what we are gonna do is I will quickly type the whole component code. I'm not gonna explain in detail this particular code because this is related to React and we are focusing on the testing, so that's why. But if you want me to explain this code, please do let me know in the comments so that I can explain you in the next video. Now here the important thing is coming. When we talked about the requirements of this particular component, there was no discussion about the loading state or error state. But when we were writing the test cases, at that time we realized that when we are doing an API request, at that time what should happen on the UI. So you can see that we were able to identify a gap when we were doing TDD. So that's the thing I wanted to show you, that most of the time we get the requirements which are not complete, but thanks to our TDD we are able to identify such gap. Even when we were discussing the requirement, at that time there was no discussion on that what should happen when there is an error. If so, these are the things which I really wanted to cover through this series, that how our TDD is so helpful. Okay, so please remember this. Please, whenever you are writing the test cases, always keep a close eye that what are the requirements missing out. Okay, now this is try. So let's do a API request here, response equals to await. And what we are gonna do is, if response is not okay, then set error would be, if the response is not okay, then we will show the error and we will hide the loader. Else what we are gonna do is, if it is not the case, then we will get the users and then we will take this set users, and in this we will set this, and I don't know why I made it uppercase, so it should be like this, and our loader will be false. This is what we wanted to do. So once our fetch request is going, at that time by default our loader would be there. If the response is okay, then users, it will go in the state and our loader will go off. If the response is not okay, the error will come and the loader will go away. Okay, and if there is some error here, we can just show the same thing, error true or loader, and loader false. And now let's call this here, and because this is our use effect, so dependency array, so this is done. Now let's start creating our const create users list, return users dot map user li, and we need user dot name, and we need here user dot id. And now what we can do is, we will start writing our JSX, that if there is any error, then it should return us error. If the state is loading, it's true. Then return loading. Else what it is gonna do, it is gonna return ul users and create users list. And let's export the list component. Let's go back here, import our list component. Okay, so if everything is well, this test case should pass. Let's go to our package.json and run our test script, and let's see what is happening. It has been failed. Let's see what is happening. Is not a function. It is not a function. Okay, it is complaining here. Oh, the reason it is complaining here is because I did a typo. Where I have written fn, it is actually a method like this. So let's see, one more fail. It is saying get by text loading. Yeah, so if you will read this, unable to find an element with the text loading. If you will see, our DOM has loading small case with 3 dots, and what we are testing is this one. So either what we can do is, we can copy this from our DOM to our test case. Let's go here, we have to do multiple places. Okay, now let's see again what is the issue. Okay, so we are not able to see anything in DOM, so it is saying get by text user one is not there, and our DOM is also not getting created. Okay, so let's see what is the issue here. Let me go back to the component first and see if this is the issue. Users. Let me run my local environment also. Okay, so the loading is coming, my view is not getting created. So let's see what is the issue. Yeah, it is coming blank. Let's see why it is coming blank. So if you will see, my code is not working and that's why it is giving error. I'm just checking if the API request response data is coming. Yep, it is coming. What I'm missing here? Ah, my bad. This was the issue. Yep. And now let's see our test cases. And you can see it is passing. So everything is working fine. I missed the return statement. So let's go to the test cases and see that what we have done. So what we have done for API testing for the GET request, we have used the mocking. Mocking is basically we are mocking the response and we are mocking the response data. This is a success case. This is a happy scenario, not the error state. So right now the test case which we have written is when we are expecting API request is successful and it has given us the response. So the first thing what we did is mock the fetch request response, created the mock data, and then what we have done is whenever we are doing a fetch request, we have overridden with our mocking function. From here onwards, our normal test, not normal, but whatever we have learned so far in testing, that's happening. So the first thing is we have rendered our component. Once the component has been rendered, then we are doing a API request fetch with this URL. So this is what we are testing. While our request is going there would be a loader or loading text would be coming on the screen. So that's what we are checking. And then we will wait. We will wait until this loading has removed from the screen, because it means that the data has came and our UI has been created. So if you will see here, this is what we are doing, that if we got the response, then loading should be false. So we are waiting for this one here, sorry, here. And after that, once this is gone, what we are doing, this mock data user1, that's what we are asserting. We are checking it's in the DOM or not. So this is what we have done. Again, we have taken the happy scenario. We haven't spoken about the error stage. So in the next video, that's what I'm gonna show you. What we are gonna do is we are gonna create another mocking function where we will be handling the error state and we will be writing the test case for that. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any question, any feedback, any other test case scenario you want me to cover, please let me know. Thank you for watching.